What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, revealing official information. And so, let's get started. Now, first things first, what has gone on this week for Destiny 2? Well, quite a lot, and this all pretty much occurred on the weekly reset. So, first of all, we had the release of the last two Brave Arsenal weapons, the Luna's Howl hand cannon, as well as the Blast Furnace pulse rifle. Both of these weapons are getting a ton of attention. They have some extremely potent god rolls. I put out a video on the Blast Furnace. It can get some just bonkers PvE rolls that no other pulse rifle in the entire game can get. Definitely check it out, guys. It's linked right up above. But aside from that, we also got a brand new activity, the Pantheon Raid Challenge. So this is going to be a mix of different raid encounters from across totally different raids. And the thing is, guys, you're getting a ton of raid loot. Like, oh my goodness, as you can see right here, if you can complete an activity within the time frame, and the time frame is not that bad, you're gonna get like 4 raid drops. It's actually insane, and this week it's at its easiest. It's only gonna get harder in upcoming weeks, so definitely check out my guide on Pantheon, how to do that. And if you're someone who doesn't raid often or has never raided and you can complete a Pantheon, oh my, you're gonna get like 5 raids worth of loot. It's insane. I'm gonna make a whole video on this, but moving on from there, guys, yet another thing that happened that Tuesday weekly reset was a small update. So here's what you want to know about. First of all, in terms of the Crucible, they're actually changing the special ammo meter system, and you can see those changes in detail right here. On top of that, we also have some changes for Onslaught. Importantly, they fixed an issue where players could hide from enemies in a spot in the boss room, so they took away that final boss room cheese. And very importantly, they fixed an issue where ADU batteries could heal enemies when thrown, and then the subnote is that additionally, healing functionality when thrown at defenses has been increased at the cost of consuming the ADU battery. So as you can see right here in the gameplay, if you throw it at a blinking red Shaxx, it won't just bounce off and you can throw it over and over again. It will actually take away the battery and then give that guy a big chunk of healing. So that's an important thing to know. But guys, moving on from there, let's get into the brand new information within the TWAB. And right off the bat, Bungie talks about update 7.3.6.4 launching next Tuesday, May 7th, and this is bringing with it the 3 new PvP maps. So we have Eventide Labs, as you can see right here, takes place on Europa, and then Bungie actually revealed a detailed map of what this is actually going to look like from a bird's eye view. So you trials grinders can already start, theory crafting sightlines for this map. In fact, specifically, Bungie says, with initial spawns near point A at the warehouse and near point C at the ice caves, players will make their way to contest the servitor area that holds point B and a valuable heavy ammo crate. But be careful, while the interior of the map by the promenade and upper glacial is more close quarters battle focused, a handful of longer sightlines in the space between air dock and loading bay means that you'll have to ensure that you approach carefully, or you may be on the wrong side of a sniper rifle. Moving on from there, we have Cirrus Plaza, which takes place on Neo Muna, and you can see the detailed, above look map right here, and then the little blurb about this map is as follows. There are 4 distinct areas on Cirrus Plaza with the arcade, restaurant, aquarium, and atrium. Players will spawn in the arcade near point A and the restaurant near point C. The atrium will be an area of interest as players will seek the heavy ammo crate that spawns in the middle and battle to earn the valuable high ground. However, with sightlines spanning multiple floors and players battling for point B nearby, Guardians will need to get in and out quickly or ensure they have teammates watching their back. And then lastly, guys, we have Dissonance, which takes place on a terraformed pyramid ship. And here is the above look at Dissonance, and the blurb is as follows. With initial spawns near the fossils at point A and the sigil at point C, the map offers somewhat direct paths through the middle, where players will be drawn to orbits to engage in heated brawls over the heavy ammo and across the bottom of the map towards B. Now, on top of that, Bungie says when these maps arrive on May 7, they will be on a separate 3v3 playlist called New Territory, so you can enjoy the new experience these maps offer on demand. The playlist will replace the 3v3 quick play node and feature the 3 new maps with the following game modes: Survival, Elimination, Clash, and Collision. Be sure to pick up the introductory quest from Shaxx for more details on the maps and playlist. And they say additionally, while New Territory is the designated playlist for the new maps, the maps will be available in other playlists and the private lobby as usual. And also, New Territory will be available until the end of the season, at which point any player who engaged in the playlist will be awarded this Staycation emblem. But moving on from there, we have something a bit unusual. There is a Pantheon boss deep dive, and it looks like this. Like, we have Golgoth, Classification, Hive, Blood of Oryx, it's an ogre, and then it talks about its different attacks, and then there's a section on intel, I guess kind of a little bit of lore about Golgoth. I don't know what this has to do with, frankly, anything. The one thing I can think is maybe some of these lore entries are hinting at future story implications or something like that, because we beat Pantheon a few days ago. Like, if you want to know intel on Golgoth, I mean, again, my guide will tell you exactly how to beat this guy. So it's like, I just don't understand this, but here they are. If you are interested, like Caretaker, the intel and stuff like that. Moving on from there, we have Atrax and his intel and of note, and it has stuff like Atrax one was known to prefer synthetic lubricant when undergoing maintenance. Like, Bungie, who asked? Okay, but like, it is, again, it is a bit bizarre. And then lastly, we do have the Explicator of Planets here and his little lore entry and information there. Moving on from there, if you are someone who has done Pantheon, you can get these Bungie rewards, so like a raid ring and a pin, and you can see the information for that right there. Moving on from there, we have Rahool's Frequent Decryptor program. So Bungie says, the experience of grinding out new exotic armor can be a time-consuming process. It can take quite a few runs to get the drop you're looking for, and many more to get one that has the stats to support your build. Besides that, with exotic armor pieces often forming the backbone of a powerful build, new players are regularly asked to spend a long time tackling challenging content solo before being able to run the builds that support the most effective tactics. So here's what's changing. Starting in the final shape, Rahool is going to be the source for any new exotic armor that we release. When you first talk to Rahool after the final shape launch, he will introduce you to a new rewards program tied to his brand new reputation track. The idea is simple. The more you decode engrams with him, the more you increase your reputation with him. Once you completely fill the reputation track once and reset your rank, Rahool will allow you to join an elite club, giving you access to a new tier of focusing. And we can actually see a screenshot of Rahool and his reputation track right here. Now, Bungie continues, once you become one of Rahool's engram insiders, you'll be able to purchase any piece of exotic armor for any character on your account for 1 exotic engram and 1 exotic cipher. In addition to the previous focusing options, because this is tied to Rahool's new reputation track, there is no weekly limit to using this tier of focusing. As long as you still have exotic ciphers and engrams, you can keep rolling armor. They say with this change, we're also altering the way that old sources of exotic armor work. First, lost sectors will keep the same drop rates for exotics, but will instead drop engrams whenever they would have previously dropped gear. Neomuna will also drop new exotic armor when you complete a Vex Strike Force encounter, but we won't be adding any more new armor to the drop list after Season of the Wish. With these changes, we know you're wondering how long will it take to get this newfangled tier of focusing. I've got the world's first race to prepare for. Without going into exact numbers, the actions that will give the most reputation will be precision decryption, aka tier 2 focusing, followed by advanced decryption when opening an exotic engram. And last but not least, opening a prime engram. So if you want to be ready for the Witness's forces as soon as possible, make sure to stock up on exotic engrams and Ascendant shards before June 4th. With a little more than a full stock of exotic engrams, you'll be able to start focusing new armor. Okay, so huge tip when it comes to prep for the final shape right there. Make sure to be going into final shape with full exotic engrams so that you can decrypt them and unlock this new focusing tier, which is going to let you get the brand new exotic armor. This is really interesting. It's definitely a change from, okay, they added new legs. You have to wait until legs are featured in the Lost Sector, then you have to grind the crap out of them and hopefully get the new legs. Well, I think the first time you get an exotic, they are guaranteed to drop. But yeah, so huge overhaul to how you're going to be getting exotic armor moving forward. And really interesting. I don't know how that's really going to play out. Moving on from there, guys, we have a shader icon revamp. So you can actually see an image from the final shape right here, and this is going to be what the new shaders are going to look like within your inventory. And Bungie just says they're doing this so that the shader preview is more indicative of what your armor will actually look like. Like previously, you only had 4 different colors, but we know with like light highlights and all these different parts of the armor, stuff would often look very different than the shader you thought you were putting on. So we have this new version that is going to be able to show more of the colors you're actually going to get by putting on these shaders. Moving on from there, guys, we have an update from the PvP strike team, and they want to discuss special ammo in the Crucible. They say since update 7.3.5, we've been doing a substantial amount of iteration on our special ammo distribution systems. And here's how they kind of break things down. First of all, you have a section on the respawn system. So they say the original special ammo distribution system was brought into the game with Forsaken, and combined with allowing players to pick up ammo from defeated opponents, it eventually peaked in a short period of time where special weapons eclipsed primary weapons for final blows in the Crucible. They talk about how they walked it back several times and just talk more about this respawn system. Moving on to the next system, they have the meter system. They say to understand the meter system, we first need to talk you through its development. The system was originally intended to be experimental, utilized only in the temporary labs mode, checkmate. It was built using a combination of other systems co-opted from various parts of the game that allowed us to do things we could usually not do in the Crucible, like retaining the state of the meter between lives and between rounds. Now they continue to say reaction to the system in checkmate was mixed, but we saw there was a lot of potential in our first truly earnable special ammo system. And then moving on from there, we have a section on balance issues. So the overall balance of the meter system in the wider sandbox has been concerning. It primarily benefits one player type over all others, with players who routinely perform above average in their lobbies getting double benefits of having more special ammo than the respawn system allowed at certain points of the game, while their opponents often have much less. In the meter system, high-performing players are earning special ammo at 3.5 times the rate of lower-performing players. Now, Bungie concludes with, earlier this week we took steps to improve on these issues, but the difficulty we face in a system where special ammo is almost entirely earned is that we have limited room to close the gap between high and low performers before it functionally becomes everyone gets special ammo on a timer, which is something we'd like to avoid. Now they talk about some technical issues here, but then they go into the crates system. So they say as a potential fallback for the meter system, the special ammo crate system was resurfaced and iterated upon. The crate system has several benefits from a design perspective, including the ability to place crates in key zones around the map to help encourage player movement in a non-objective or objective-oriented modes and prevent coagulation around a single power position, as well as offering the ability to delay special weapon pushes in round-based modes. They do say, however, that ultimately the crate system in its isolation has several major problems. It can present a frustrating amount of friction between playing the game how you want and playing the game how you need to if you want to run a special weapon. And so going through those main points, and of course you can pause and read them in their entirety if you want to, we come to the blended 1-to-1-to-1 system. Bungie says each of the above listed systems has both positives and negatives. In isolation, each system helps and hurts a different part of the population, but none of them holistically solves the special ammo problem. And again, they go through some of the points we already talked about, and now they say the solution we have settled on is a blended system we refer to as the 1-to-1-to-1, taking parts of each of the above systems and combining them to solve the problem introduced by each system individually. So, number one, players will respawn each life with 1 kill worth of special ammo for their chosen weapon. This serves as a stopgap for players to make sure that they are never going long amounts of time with an empty weapon and encourages more players to utilize special weapons, albeit in a limited fashion. Then number two, all primary weapon final blows will drop a personal ammo brick that awards 1 kill worth of special ammo. This is our deterministic and earnable method of distributing ammo in the blended system until our purpose-built version of the ammo meter is ready. What this means is that any of your final blows with a primary weapon will drop an ammo brick that only you can pick up, regardless of whether the opponent you defeated had special ammo on them. Likewise, if you defeat a player who has special ammo using a special ammo weapon, that will not drop a brick on the ground. And then thirdly, crates will continue to exist, but their icon visibility range on the HUD has been decreased, and they will only provide a single kill's worth of special ammo when opened. These crates will continue to serve as points of interest around the map, but it will no longer be a requirement for players to interact with them to partake in the special ammo system. So very interesting changes there. It seems like Bungie can just never nail down the special ammo system. Like, it's just constantly being changed because it turns out having extremely slow time to kill primaries and then one-hit kill specials is always going to lead to some issues. However, they do say they're launching this new system sometime after the launch of the final shape. So we'll see if this one works out. Guys, that is going to be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's going to be linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.